Welcome to Mudville, podcast about baseball and cinema. I'm Brody Staub.
I'm Nolan Rabine.
We hope you enjoy.
Right into
Let's
it.
just get right into it. Let's just jump in.
Well, welcome back, everybody. It is Mudville, and it is May 2nd.
I thought you were about to say Monday, and I was like, that was yesterday.
No, it's Tuesday.
It is Tuesday.
Yeah.
Taco Tuesdays.
When the
I don't
people
have
hear
tacos
this, it'll
today.
be Wednesday.
That's true. Wednesday morning, ideally.
And Garrett Cole
Drive time radio.
is pitching against Tanner Bybee,
He is.
and it's been a big week.
It's been a very big week.
Brody is a blogger now.
I am a blogger now. That's true. I'd love to bring that up. I was bored when I was at work, and I've been working as a
As one
substitute
is.
teacher. As one is constantly. I've been working as a substitute teacher actually, and most of my day is spent doing nothing. So I was like, you know what? What can I do that's productive with this time?
You could
Sorry.
indoctrinate the youth into wokeness.
I've tried. And they've rejected. It's a Catholic school. So.
Oh, it's brutal.
Man, no, they're cool kids. They're smart.
That's good.
But it's fun. But it's an interesting, because I went to public school. I believe
As
you
did
did as
I.
well.
Yes,
So
yep, very much so.
It's interesting being in a Catholic school, which I will not say. Otherwise, I fear for them finding the podcast. So
Yeah, fair enough.
it is a high school of very tech savvy children. So I worry. But it's
Hey,
it was fun.
We could use the streams.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, listen in, guys, or don't, please. But it depends.
If you do,
Yeah.
5 stars.
If you do 5 stars,
Yeah.
and don't get me fired. Anyway,
It's been a rainy ass weekend
It
here
has.
in New York.
Rainy
Oh my
as hell.
lord, it didn't
Cold.
stop raining for a second.
cold and rainy.
Yep, cold, rainy. The Yankees suck.
Yep. Oh, that's what I was talking about. Just the Yankees being cold and rainy.
Talk about
vibes.
your blog.
Yeah. Oh,
Plug
well, yeah.
that
Actually,
shit.
I will. Actually, that's
What's
a good
the point of a
So-
blog if you can't plug?
It's a pluggable to plug.
Give them the old blog and plug.
The blogosphere. So, the name of the blog,
I might cut that out too. That just sounded
terrible.
foul.
Awful. Anyway, the name of the blog is The Yankees, Etc., which I actually very much enjoy. Think I like my title, but it's fun. I just I'm gonna write on it whenever the Yankees annoy me or thrill me or anything else piques or piques my interest. Not piques. Which is why I put the etc. in there. So, just a space for me to write, and I've been kind of having an itch to write that I'm trying to now scratch.
A little
with
bit of
this.
a
So, yeah.
titular hubris here on the Mudville
Indeed.
podcast.
Indeed, that's what we do here. But yeah, it's
Cool.
fun. I just put out my first article called "The 23 Yankees: How and Why," which I got a comment already on it, which was how Brian Cashman, why Hal Steinbrenner, which
Pretty spot on.
basically.
Not
but
bad.
I go into a little bit more detail than that, but yeah,
But that's essentially
that's what it breaks down to. Yeah,
the arc of your thesis.
in essentia.
Yeah, I
Yes.
mean, you have a lot more to say about the Yankees than I do this week, or at least did until last night.
Sure.
It's a team depleted by injury right
Yeah.
now. Literally half of the roster
Yep.
is currently
Or the
on
projected roster. Yes.
half of the projected roster is
Yeah.
currently on the IL,
Yep.
including Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Josh Donaldson, but who cares? Luis Severino,
Yep.
Carlos
Carlos Rodon.
who apparently can't move.
Yeah, no,
was
he
the
has like a
update today.
back thing
Like,
happening.
they
No,
were
no,
like-
he can move. He's just having like problems with his back. It's like I think his motion is like not fully like there's like
Yeah,
like
it's- can't move.
It's like a hitch in it. It's I don't know what's going on. It's fucking weird.
Either way, it's definitely
new
what you
Carl
want out of your
Pavano.
starting pitcher.
Yeah.
Oh God, I hope not. Well,
No,
no,
it's
he's not
not.
the new Carl Pavano because Rodon is actually good.
That's true. That's very true. I also I'm say that
Yeah.
to exaggerate. I know it's not that bad, and when he gets here, he's going to be great. But it's a moving target now of when he's going to get here because nobody has any fucking clue. So it's it is what it is.
Yep.
Nobody
know
Tommy
when-
Kahnle, Lou Trevino, some bullpen pieces. Scott Efros is gone. It's just. Oh, also, by the way, did you remember that Frankie Montas is a Yankee?
I did.
Yeah, he's hurt.
Yeah, Frankie
by the
the
way,
Yankee.
Yeah, he's terrible. Has been. Also, if he comes back, I have literally zero expectations for him. So whatever. But anyway, The
if he
entire
comes
Yankees
back, I
roster
think
is
he's just
hurt.
gonna like walk a bunch of people
Yep.
in like September, and
Get
then
through
they
4
might.
innings, give up 5 runs. At start,
Yeah,
and then
like my
see ya.
my hope for him, my best hope for him.
you have
is
hopes
that-
for him.
Yeah, I do.
I hope he
think-
finds inner peace. Other than that, I don't give a shit what he does.
I hope he watches some good movies while he's hurt.
That's fair enough.
No, I think maybe Frankie Montas is the kind of guy who could come back, provide like he could get a few. He could pitch like a few of those games, assuming that they even have these games
Sure.
this year.
Right.
Like last year, in which who was the guy who they had throwing last year? Just like the most random.
Chichi Gonzalez?
Yeah, like the games in which they had
Yeah.
Chichi Gonzalez pitching
I
last
think
year.
he actually had a great start when they let him throw. It's hilarious.
Yeah. Like you could throw Montas into like one of those games, like see what he has. It definitely can't.
Dude, Gary
give him a
Sanchez can
playoff
just
start.
be a DH. It's not that big a deal.
Is that what I sound like saying that?
That's what you used to say.
Did I say that?
I feel like I remember you being.
I mean,
a
I
big
feel like
Gary
we
guy.
all kinda
We
said
were.
that.
Everybody
Yeah.
was. You couldn't blame us back then.
No, of course
we
not.
were all young. We didn't know any better.
Yeah. The one thing that I will say about the Yankees, though, is that last year I had this growing feeling of dread. And this one particular moment had me feeling like something in my brain chemistry just clicked. And I thought that I was overreacting because it was right when the Yankees season ended.
Uh-huh.
But here we are in May, and I can't shake the feeling that when Aaron Boone showed footage of the 2004
Oh, God.
Boston
Ugh.
Red Sox, that became,
You're gonna make me sick.
I think, might have truly been the moment in which I knew
Yeah.
that this team would not win a championship.
I think that's true. I don't know if there's a way to argue that. Obviously they have the talent to do it, but just the leadership is so weak.
Yeah,
And I don't want to.
I don't want to get into a conversation
have to.
about like Cashman did this
Yeah.
and Boone did this,
But
and
Cashman
Hicks
did
fucking
do
sucks,
that,
and like,
and Boone
yeah,
did do
no,
that.
of course,
And Hicks does fucking suck.
yeah.
But,
I
yeah.
mean, there are all problems that could be
know.
very easily solved, and
Yeah.
that's among the frustration. But
It's
know,
not
like
going
we
to.
said, there is a team full of all stars that are still on
The
the IL,
list.
and the guys who are up aren't doing too hot.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, they are still 15 and 15.
Amazingly.
Probably going to lose this game.
I'd assume.
And yeah, I mean, I can't really write anybody off.
Yeah.
Especially the Yankees until like after the All-Star break, if they're down like 15 games.
I think by
or something.
mid-June, if they have nobody back and they're
Oh,
like in a
man.
really deep hole, you can kind of start to, start putting the nails in the coffin. But
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. I don't
Maybe
think they're
a
going to be
little.
under 500 for the season. But this is the realest chance that I've seen the team have this early in the season to maybe miss the playoffs.
Yeah,
So,
well,
you know,
and
at least-
a lot
at
of
least
that
since
is
2016,
that
but yes.
the American League East is just
It's
unreal.
It's fucking crazy.
The
good.
Rays are like 24 and 5. The
Yep.
Orioles are only a few games behind them.
Yep.
Which doesn't surprise me. I was a lot higher on the Orioles than
No, well, than most people. I was with you.
Yeah.
I was completely with you.
Definitely.
They're crazy good. They're fun.
no, they've got so much
They can
talent.
fucking
They've
bang,
got guys who
dude.
are blocked
They
now.
can
They have
bang.
prospects
Yeah.
that don't even have space for
Good,
them on the team.
send them
They're
Give
gonna
them to
have
the
to
Yankees.
start. They're gonna have to start trading guys for starting pitching.
Yeah.
And
That's how you build a good team.
We could reach the point where we're writing off the Yankees as early as June, but let's
Yep.
hope it doesn't come to that.
Also, the Red Sox are better than people gave them credit for, but it's early. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't.
They've been
I don't
hitting.
think that's going to last.
Their
I don't
pitching
care
is
about
not
the Red Sox.
fantastic. No, nobody does.
Um,
I do have a theory about the Yankees that I wanted to get into last week, but we ran out of time.
oh yeah, why not we just get all of the
Yeah, get it out of the way now.
Yankee talk out of the start,
Yeah.
out of the way right at the start.
Yeah, so I've had this theory for like a few weeks now, and it's been like formulating over the course of the off season and then the last couple weeks, and just especially in the last few days, it's picked up steam in my own brain. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with that.
The wheels are
the wheels are going.
are turning.
Cogs are clanking. So, I have a theory that the Yankees were like planning on not competing this year, And they didn't say anything. They didn't make any like obvious moves that proved it. But when you look at what is coming off the books this year, I think they kind of knew. Like this year, if we could just do whatever we can with who we have, not make any crazy moves. We can get Rodon. We'll sign to a long deal because we could use the pitching in the long term. But at the end of this season, Donaldson, Hicks, probably Montas, Sevy. Well, they'll probably bring back Sevy on a cheap deal because he's been hurt the whole year unless he shows out.
Well, yeah, it's a contract year for him. We're gonna have to see what he has. It's much too early to say anything about Severino.
Yeah. They're gonna have to decide probably about Glaber because otherwise they might trade him by the halfway point. They have a lot of prospects that they want to get some playing time. Volpe and Peraza could be ideal, but they have a ton of money that is coming off the books, and they have a few prospects that could be game ready for opening day next year, namely Spencer Jones and Jason Dominguez, which is help in positions where they could use it in third and fourth outfield spots, and also cost-controlled guys who are really young. Most of the team at that point would then be guys not making more than $10 million, which I cannot imagine the last time the Yankees starting nine was on average, or I would say median, lower than $10 million. So there's a lot of reason to kind of look towards next year as a real year to compete, whereas this year, maybe not. But with the amount of financial flexibility that they will have in the offseason, maybe they could go make a splashy move. They won't because they're the Yankees and they don't ever do that. But they do have the ability to do that. So we'll see if they actually do. But I'm curious what you think of my working theory.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sold on it. I think there might be. I think there's certainly truth to the part about Josh Donaldson's contract coming off the books. They're certainly going to have a little.
Hicks too,
yeah, like they're going to have a bit more flexibility and cash to spend and free agents to look at. So I do think they're going to be able to clear some of the fat and maybe.
None of the shit that's here right now is going to be here next year, which makes me very happy.
Yeah.
Like, next year, at this point, will be an actual major league lineup. I am very confident in saying that.
I would hope so. We'll come back to this on May 2nd, 2024. Hope that there's an actual big league lineup in the Bronx. Because right now we have, like, Willie Calhoun.
Yep. Franchi. Although Franchi did get sent back down. Harrison Bader is back, which, like,
Aaron
people
Hicks
were
is still in the
overhyping Harrison Bader coming back because they just remember him from the playoffs. I love
this
Harrison
point,
Bader,
I'm
but
celebrating it.
He's not a bat. He's not like he's better than everybody else we have because he's like a 250 stick, like an OPS around like the high 90s, which is probably better than the rest of the team. But it is bad times in the Yankee world.
It's not good.
Nothing's good.
Nothing's good.
Not really getting better.
Weather sucks. The Yankees suck.
The Mets suck.
The Mets
Knicks
kind
are
of
playing,
suck.
and they
the
might
Knicks
suck.
are playing.
I hope they don't suck.
They
The
might
Rangers
be all
are
right.
eliminated from the Stanley Cup. Not
So
that
are
I
the
care,
Bruins,
but
which
the Bruins got out.
I don't know anything about hockey,
They
but
blew a 3-1 lead.
Boston was sad,
Yep.
and that made me happy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm with you there.
Some
Fun
of my
stuff.
friends are Bruins fans, and I do feel for them.
Yeah.
But for
fuck
the
'em.
city of Boston, fuck off. I don't give a shit about them.
Shit. Nobody cares. Do you want to talk about basketball at all before we move on a little bit? Like the Warriors are cool. Steph is like getting to the point where it's impossible to deny him as being like top. I don't know, basketball top whatever discussions are hard.
I don't have anything
he's
to say
in
about
there.
basketball.
I mean, dude, Steph's performance in the last game was insane. In Game 7 against the Kings, it was nuts.
It was.
Dropped like a 50 piece and was just literally unstoppable. Terrifying. That guy can just will a team to victory. But anyway.
We were in
Moving
attendance for a very fun event over the weekend at the Museum of the Moving Image with SNY director John DeMarzico, who put on the event Baseball is Cinema, in which he went over a lot of his directorial influences when he is curating the Mets broadcast, including directors Brian De Palma and Sergio Leone.
That's my favorite Frank Ocean song.
Yeah, okay.
Sergio.
No, that's the end of the bit. No.
Leone. All right, go on.
Specifically, he talked about De Palma's use of split diopter shots and split screen usage of multiple angles of the same shot, imposing one image over another. You know, it cuts directly from an image of one of the 80s De Palma films to a Mets broadcast where Jacob deGrom's glove over his face is imposed over the sight line of the pitcher to the hitter, and it
was cool.
Yeah,
it was really, really cool. It's like refreshing in a way that, you know, hearing somebody talk about baseball who's in charge of presenting baseball is really cool.
It was
because
very exciting.
You don't think about it like that. And then you know, the co-host of the event said something interesting, which is like essentially what you're doing on a daily basis is documentary filmmaking, which I've never thought about at all in any way, like, you know, sports production being that, but it, you know, at a base level it is. So it's kind of cool to hear from someone who's actively aware of that and trying to make it, you know, more of a creative medium. So it was fun.
Yeah,
I
I loved hearing about how he compared the battle between the pitcher and the hitter to like a standoff that you'd
old
see
West
in a
standoff,
Leone Western. Yeah, he uses like Ennio Morricone and I
Stuff
can't
like
do that, but yeah, that's
was
exactly
cool.
what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. And it's true. It's
eyes.
absolutely
He's
true.
talking about- yeah.
You know, baseball is certainly the most cinematic sport.
Mm-hmm.
I have loved discovering that, I think, over the past like year or so. And you know, yeah, I mean, it's why we wanted to start this podcast. It's some of the things that we just love to talk about, and it was really fun and inspiring to hear him talk. You asked a good question. I was going to ask one. I had one in mind, but he kind of like answered it right away, so I
Right.
didn't bother with it. But I was going to ask was how the pitch clock he felt has impacted the stillness
Right.
of baseball.
He
because,
talked a lot about stillness.
Yeah,
in
stillness
general.
itself is very
It's the only sport
cinematic.
like that.
Yeah, and baseball is the only sport that has it. It's the only sport,
Also,
like you
it's
said,
not
where
left to right also, which
and
football,
where
hockey, basketball, tennis, you know, stuff like that, where it's very linear, you know,
Yeah.
going back and forth. But
baseball, you have a lot more directorial leeway. Like we've got a game on right now, and
Yeah.
they pan from behind home plate to a shot where like you can see the umpire in the foreground and the pitcher in the back. Like,
Yeah.
that's the kind of thing where
it's cool. There's
you don't-
room to move around and
Yeah.
explore the space, as it were. You know,
and
it's
there
fun.
there are so many ways to utilize that
Yeah.
as part of the entertainment aspect of the game, and it was really fun to hear him talk about that.
That and characters too. He talked about the idea of character because what he first brought up is like Edwin Diaz and the entrance that he had last season kind of made him well known, and you know, like just being like, oh, John DeMarzio is like going fucking nuts back there in the truck trying to create this whole, like, people were realizing that he's doing something special. So that you know, the Timmy Trumpet thing with the like the close-ups and whatnot, and just all that made him known. And at the time, I was like, man, what the fuck are the Mets doing? It's the most Mets shit ever. Like, they haven't won anything. Like, Diaz has only been here for like 6 months as to being this good, and they're doing the whole like, we don't need all of the fanfare, but at the same time, looking at it from a production standpoint, it is kind of cool.
It's amazing.
Because you did like the, you know, the behind the back shot, walking out of the bullpen, black and white, and then he steps on the field and it's in color, and then the music blasts, and then we have like, you know, it's like, it's cool. It's, you know, it was a cool way to think about it. Though it was a little bit different.
Yeah, and he talked
yeah.
so much about how that shot in particular changed his life, and I thought that was really inspiring. And that
he was cool. Like, overall, he was just like a very cool guy.
he was a great guy.
And we actually we ended up on his Twitter account.
Yeah, no, we did. They tweeted a picture of the crowd at the event, and whoever took the picture was seated directly behind
Like
us,
in the seats behind
like
our heads.
right behind our head. So they took the picture, and literally, it's like the back of our heads
Our
is in the
skulls.
picture.
Yeah.
it's pretty funny.
It was fun.
Yeah, it's just like documentation that we were there. Like, maybe we'll get like accused of a crime that happen that night.
It's our alibi.
And we'll be like, boom.
No, we were there.
Check this account. And
I
also
can promise.
look at this really fun event and listen to our podcast.
We were not there, Your Honor. Also, have you heard Mudville?
Where was the Mudville podcast on January 6th?
That's oh dear God! I was at work. I kept the fucking
I was
pay
getting a
stub
haircut,
to, choose,
dude.
to prove it. My
I
God,
was
you're
getting
getting a haircut.
Yeah.
Man.
No, literally, I left that day. I was like, all right, gotta go get a
I don't know why I was
haircut.
so surprised by that. By the way, I was like, "You're getting a haircut
Yeah.
on a random day in January."
It was like, yeah, see, seems a little sus, buddy.
What were you doing, you bitch?
Yeah.
Where were you?
No, I came back. Well, I left and they were like protesting, like in support of Trump. And then I left and I got a haircut and I came back and they were like inside the building.
Yeah,
And I was like, oh.
I missed that. I was at work and I got off of work back then at 1 o'clock because I worked 7 to 1. It was a morning shift at a cafe, and I remember I was getting off and there were like it was kind of starting. And I texted like my coworker at the time, and I was like, "Did you see this?" She was like, "What?" And I was like, "Are you not watching this right now?" She was like, "No, she was in the car. She was still driving home." And I was like, because we had been looking at the news of the rally in the morning, like while we were
Yeah,
at work,
of
and I was like,
course.
it got like way worse. it's like really bad now, but also it's really funny.
It's hilarious.
And then me and all my friends hopped on Warzone and we were playing because this was still at the time of the pandemic, so we were all playing a shit ton of Warzone and like games like that.
Yeah.
And we were just like laughing and freaking out about stuff all day. It was
Oh,
fun.
man.
It's
Yeah,
like
that sounds like
it's a day in the lore of our friend group. It's like,
Yeah, that's
Funny.
great. It's a day that will forever live in infamy, in which I got a haircut.
and Nolan got a haircut and
Yep.
I served a cortado.
Oh man, what else happened this week?
Not that. That was a few years ago.
Yeah, no, that was a while
Yeah.
back. The Writers Guild of America
Yes.
went on strike,
That
which is
happened.
awesome.
Yeah, really cool.
We want to say
All
right
the-
off the bat, the
Yeah.
Mudville podcast
Full
supports
support.
the writers.
Full
we are a
support.
pro-labor podcast.
The only thing I'll
Whether
say,
that's
please,
baseball.
please hurry because I need work.
Yeah, no, Brody needs a job.
I need a job.
So they gotta figure this out.
I work in film production as a set dresser
Mm-hmm.
in the time that I'm not substitute teaching. Yeah, guys, let's figure that shit out quick, huh? Let's get me back in on set.
Let's
making
get Brody
stuff.
back into the kitchen.
Give me business, man. I gotta make money. But no, we are in full support. Obviously, go get your bags, boys and girls.
Dude,
you
you're definitely
you need to be
like
no.
if you
on
want to
scab watch.
No,
because I said that.
I was gonna say you're definitely like in a prime position to be a scab where you can be
Oh
like,
God! Oh dear God! No, never. You
Bro-
you can call me anything. You can even call me late to dinner, but do not call me a scab.
I might call you late to dinner, honestly.
That's fine.
After that, just because
Honestly,
you gave me permission.
That's
I
fair.
wasn't gonna
I just
do
told
it.
you can, as long as you don't call me a scab, whatever.
Okay.
But that's that ain't cool. But writers work really fucking hard, and as someone who understands that the industry is like, people were saying it's like writers get paid so much. It's like I get paid a shit ton when I'm working. I'm broke as shit because I never work because it's rare. Like that's how it works. Like the rates are high and the amount of work you get is extremely low. So they deserve to get paid.
Yeah, writers across the board, just in every industry, just don't get paid.
Yeah.
Like that's just kind of a staple of every industry. So like when people are talking about these coastal elites or whatever,
Yeah.
like who
Writers
are
are
on
broke
strike
as
for this,
shit.
like
Yeah.
dude, writers don't make any money
They make no
at all.
money.
And the thing that's like so frustrating about the fact that they even have to go on strike at all is that like the other side of the debate is like acknowledging even that their concerns are actually legitimate, but the Wall Street profit margins won't be big enough, and that's like the only problem.
Dude.
And it like I don't know, the fact that all this is happening like right after the week where we talked more about how like
Yeah.
everything that we love is just being crushed
Squeezed
by the
dry.
rich, and
Yeah.
it's like I wish that these topics of discussion would like stress the importance of the fact that it's like not huge differences.
Yeah.
And that like
What people are
better
asking for is
things-
not for companies to go under so that people get
No.
paid. It's so that the people who own it can't own 8 yachts and 7 houses. It's it's so frustrating.
Not even that. They
Like-
they still can own that, but
Like-
they're asking that in addition to that, they have to pay their employees a living
true.
wage.
That's true. Not
And
that they
won't
can't
do
own
that.
it. It's just that,
Yeah.
like, whatever. You're right. It's, because there is that much money, by the way, in the industry that they could make
Oh,
a
it's
fair
everywhere.
wage, and also
Yeah.
the owners could have that shit.
No,
It's
the film and television industry is not going broke.
No, it's really not.
Yeah.
I promise you that.
It-
Which I realized, especially when I was working on it was an HBO show that had a very high budget, and I found out that it was classified as a major budget. Which, if you don't know much about production, there are different tiers of budgets for a production. There's like tier 1 through 3, I think, and then there's major budgets. I don't know enough about it as I should, but I know that major is like the highest, which is basically like they have essentially what feels like unlimited funding. And then tier budgets, which feel like you were literally going to get charged for using a toothpick. So it's, working on a major, I walked in and they had like catering trucks. Like I literally walked over, could have been anyone. I literally did not tell them who I was. I wear street clothes when I work. I just walked over to the catering truck and I grabbed a bottle of water, and the guy was like, "Hey, so for dinner tonight," I was like, "Do you know that I work over there?" He was like, "Oh, you came from that direction." It's that easy? Okay. All right. Fair enough. But, meanwhile, the tier truck, I was going to buy like the lunch special at the Chinese place around the corner because it was $6 and it was all that I could afford.
That's a great deal.
It was amazing. Oh my God, it was fantastic.
I wish I could get a
General
deal like
Tso's
that around
chicken and
where
a
I
thing of
work,
soup.
man.
Whew,
It's
good
also
stuff.
expensive.
I know. Well, you work in a very expensive part of the city.
Yeah, it sucks.
But yeah. Anyway, power to the writers. Let's go get our money and let's get me back to work.
Hell yeah, dude. One of the like key stipulations in their negotiation process was the writers were like, or was about the use of AI, and the writers were demanding, they were saying AI cannot be used in any capacity. It cannot be used to write scripts. It cannot rewrite scripts.
Right.
You cannot replace us
Can't
with
use AI.
with this
Yeah, yeah.
technology.
Right.
And the studios rejected it and
Stupid as shit.
replied and countered with, instead we will have a yearly discussion about furtherments in technology. And that is
I'm never getting back to work.
yeah, no, you're done, man.
Really?
You're done.
Jesus Christ.
Robot
We're
Brody is
fucked.
going to steal your job. Like,
Oh, no.
I don't
Wait,
know.
if he does, can I get money for him stealing my job, and then I don't need to pay rent or money to
that
live?
would be nice.
That'd be great. I could just have Robo Brody go do stuff,
Now,
and then I hang out and
They're going to
around
raise
and watch the Yankees all
our
day.
rent because Robot
Yeah.
Brody is making more money.
That's true. That's true.
That's what's going to
I'm
happen.
gonna get put in a new
We're
tax
not gonna see
bracket.
any of it. Yeah.
Because Robo Brody is living in the Poconos.
He's just living it up on
Pekingese. Yeah.
on your dime.
Yeah.
What's
It's out in
that?
the Hamptons.
It's like
That fucker.
Casino when James Woods is like when Robert De Niro is going over his finances and he's looking at Sharon Stone when she went out to
Sharon Stone.
cheat with James Woods, and De Niro was like, that fucking piece of shit had a real good time on my money. That's like Robot Brody.
Yeah, that's Robot
After
Brody
They
fucking
put
around.
us in a new tax.
Exactly
What are we
like
talking
James
about?
Woods. I don't know. James Woods? That's what people say, though, when they see me. They're like, that guy and James Woods feel similar.
Yeah, and something that's also just
Dear God,
been
no, I'm
so
kidding,
like
by the way.
infuriating about it is now because Elon Musk has Twitter like set up to the point where all of the Twitter blue people, where all of the people who only
the
have
replies?
blue check marks left are the people who pay him $8, and of course we
So
only pay
funny.
him people who pay him $8, the ones who like are. That sums it up. Went on too long, but that summed it up.
I don't think it did. I think that's actually an accurate representation.
So, yeah, and so he has all of those morons algorithmically at the very top of all of the Twitter replies. Yeah.
because he's putting it towards the advancement of the human race.
That's what they sound like to me.
So now we have So now we have all of these people like in
Elon's just a genius. You don't get it. You're just mad. You're jealous.
we have to see everybody's replies like under these top tweets about like the strike and shit
Yeah.
like that. And now we have to see all of these people
Shitheads who
being like,
paid
this is
for
actually
Twitter.
good because now AI is going to be able to like write
Yeah.
stuff and we can finally use that and we can like engineer products to be like, and
Yeah.
like, you know, and it's just all
That's the
fucking
wrong voice.
nonsense.
Now we can use AI.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that one.
Make him a nerd.
Yeah.
Love to see
Always.
that.
Man.
Yeah, I
Some
mean,
weird AI nerd who likes Elon Musk. I don't know.
I think that you know what? Here's kind of a somewhat optimistic prediction that I have for this.
You're being optimistic?
I'm gonna say one.
Who are you?
I'm gonna say one optimistic.
Where
thing.
did Nolan go? What you got?
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna say I think if there had to be a time for this to happen, I think that this particular time frame gives us the potential for something really funny to happen because the studio's relationship to artificial intelligence is not yet at the point where they've figured out how to use it to
Right.
make content that is good, and it's also not at the point where they've figured out what is going to create like monstrosities
Actual,
that
yeah.
give children nightmares
some of the
and
shit
make people
that I've
cry.
seen
Oh,
from,
it's
like,
horrifying.
It's so, no, but it's like borderline hilarious. It's
Yeah.
like, oh my god.
So like I'm kind of at the point where it's like you don't want to pay your fucking writers, fine, use that. Let's see how you like it.
how's it gonna go for you? Let's
AI
find out.
TV shows. You want to use it to make art? Fine. You're not going to use it to make good art.
Yeah. Also, it's just gonna be like plagiarized from other shit because that's how AI works.
I give
So,
them a
yeah.
week.
Yeah, not. I don't even think it would make it past like one read. So
Yeah.
you know, well, whatever. Anyway, let's
AI
go, writers. Go get your money.
Yeah, AI probably will be used in like some. I think the only capacity.
Can't be used in a creative field.
No,
There's
I
too,
mean,
too
I've-
many issues with copyright stuff and trademarks. that,
I've been
like,
honestly
you know.
thinking about it like more and more since we talked about it last week.
Yeah.
And I kind of settled on it might be prominent in Hallmark movies.
Oh,
Like
okay.
and-
Hold on, because I have a lot to say about that.
I had another one
I
too. but yeah, go
worked
ahead.
for them. Like I worked in the programming department of Hallmark, so that was like I was part of the team that would read prospective scripts, and you know, I helped the vice president decide on what was going to get made, and you know, we talked about who was going to be in it and how they would go about it, where they were going to shoot, whatever. And also like what they looked for in a prospective script and what they wanted to see and how they would choose and stuff like that. And some of the scripts that they got in from like they have like writers that they go to. They have like a rate for the movies that they get. You know, they'll call them and be like, we need a movie. Talk to this guy. He's written like 3 of them or whatever.
The big dogs.
Some of them already felt written by AI. Like the rejects, I wouldn't have been surprised. There were some that were like really bad, and there were a few that were really good that they rejected because they didn't feel Hallmarky enough. That I was like, wait, that's actually like a really good script, and then it never ended up being on the channel. This is interesting. So I don't know. It was a cool place to work, but their market. I learned a lot about why they do what they do, which is like if we like people are so familiar with our brand that if we stray at all, we like the risk is greater than the reward. You know, it's like people know what they expect from us.
That's
like
crazy.
we have a very specific thing that we are extremely good at making for a very small amount of money, and we know how to do it, and it's just, it's like it's extremely commercialized, and it's like I actually really liked working for them. Everybody there was also really cool and really nice and really fun. But it's
The
just,
Marvel approach.
It's literally, but for like cheesy Christmas movies, which I actually also grew an appreciation for while I was working there, because I had to watch like 60 of them over the summer. But it was,
That's
it was
just
fun.
Stockholm syndrome.
I mean, it maybe, but it was fun. Some of them were bad, but there were also some that were really good. But,
Dude.
yeah.
Honestly,
Not really good. They were good. But anyway, go
I
on.
saw a tweet that kind of made me reconsider my support for the strike, to be honest. I saw it came from this
Really?
guy. Yeah, I came from this guy from the Bridge 7
Okay.
who said this
Oh, him.
he said this strike is immoral. You are denying millions of Americans a mental health outlet, and this will directly lead to suicides. The WGA will be morally culpable, which
Whoa.
that's airtight logic.
Wait, what was
To
his
be
name
honest, from the Bridge 7.
again? What's he doing on that bridge?
Hopefully not jumping.
Dude, holy shit.
Dude, you know what? It actually had me thinking it might be my responsibility to save lives and write this TV pilot.
Go scab mode.
Yeah, no, but like it has to. It
Your
has-
Honor, he was gonna kill himself. I had to write How I Met Your Uncle.
dude. I'm thinking like I can crank out.
I had
a
to write
TV
the spin-off
pilot.
Larry, not Barry.
Well, I'm thinking it's got to be something that like we're trying to save lives here. So
Right, right,
this
right.
has to only appeal
The masses.
to the people for whom the only thing standing between them and suicide is the
Season
presence
8 of The Shield.
is the presence of network television. So basically,
Oh my God.
basically, we have to write a show that appeals to the average Twitter Blue subscriber.
Yeah, that's
So
rough.
maybe I'm thinking we could.
see season 3 of She-Hulk, I swear to God,
I'm thinking maybe we could have like we could have a new superhero called Poop Man, and he teams up with like an anti-woke Latina and an animated Pomeranian. And then
See, all right, WGA. Just we give you permission. You can clip that
This
and
is
play it in
gold.
court.
This is-
and just say this is why. Just that's it. That's your whole argument. Just you owe us money because this is your alternative.
no, hold on. I think maybe before they go back and they realize they need their writers, we can get a lot of money out of this.
Okay.
So we're trying to save lives. Studios. I'd say we conservatively need about $20 million for this show. But I think that's a small price to pay considering the alternative is mass suicide.
I think when you really weigh the options, how much is a human life worth? I mean, honestly,
I'd say
come on now.
they probably have a number for it.
To them, they have an exact, not probably, they have an exact number
They
down to
have
the
an
penny.
algorithm.
It's like it's actually about 274,363 and 200.
I think you're overstating
22
it.
cents.
They would sell me out for like
$5,000.
Remember when the Mr. Krabs sold SpongeBob for 62 cents?
62 cents.
Yeah, for real. Dude, we've done 40 minutes on
my
this. Oh
God.
boy.
Yeah, it's worth it. Anyway,
Oh, man.
moving on.
Yeah.
What else? What else is in the news these days? You guys hear about this? The Pittsburgh Pirates are the best team in baseball.
Yeah, the Pittsburgh Pirates are
Oh,
just
boy.
unbelievable. They continue to dominate teams without O'Neal Cruz on the field.
They can pitch. They can hit.
Brian
They're
Hayes.
young.
Like
They're exciting.
they haven't
They're the
called
Pittsburgh
up.
Pirates.
They haven't even called up some of their top guys yet. I mean, Henry Davis, MD Rodriguez are just on the brink. It's
Oh my
it's really
God.
exciting. Like
Yeah, it really is.
There are
Jack
a lot
Sawinski
of
took a huge step. It's fun.
yeah. Captain Jack is looking like one of the best hitters
That's
in the
best
National League
nickname
right now.
in baseball. I think right now.
It's a great nickname for sure.
Yeah.
Bryce Harper's back somehow after having
Yeah.
Tommy John surgery in like October, I think.
I think Aaron Hicks came back around the same time. I'm also not kidding. I think he actually did.
Oh,
But
boy.
yes, Bryce Harper is a tank of a man who still makes me depressed to think about because he literally said that he would play first base for the Yankees to come here. And now he's going to be playing first base for the Phillies. And I don't know, it's funny. He's not going to be an outfielder, at least probably until, I don't know, his arm feels completely fine. But now he doesn't have to throw. So, I don't know. Maybe he'll just evolve to a first baseman, which is kind of fun.
The Rhys Hoskins injury really kind of opened up that position, and Derek Hall is like not very good, and I think he's still hurt even.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if Bryce is going to do this, and it looks like he is, the
Well,
opportunity is absolutely there, and
Derek
I hope he
Hall
slides into
is
it.
what happens when you have stars go down. I heard it on a million different radio shows about the Yankees in the last week. You can't lose stars and replace them with stars. So
No.
you get a Derek Hall.
Yep.
Also, Derek Hall, we were at, was I with you? I think I was, but we were at a Yankee game. Was I with you at the game
Oh,
against the
yeah,
Phillies?
I think I know what
they,
you're talking
they
about.
said Derek Hall, like in the in
And
the
somebody
thing.
thought it was Garrett Cole.
Me. I thought it was Garrett Cole. I was like, is Garrett Cole on what the hell?
Wait, did he get
But-
traded?
Yeah.
Bring him back!
What is going on here? Why is he hitting? My God.
One of the more dystopian things that happened around the league this week was in the Oakland Athletics' first home game back since the announcement, the premature announcement, may I add, that the team is intending to move to Las Vegas. The Oakland fan.
Boo. Anyway, go on.
The Oakland fans brought signs to the game saying, "Sell the team. We hate John Fisher. John
Yep.
Fisher, sell the team. John Fisher, you
John
suck.
Fisher
sell the
sucks."
team,
Yeah.
etc." And
What you would expect and what is what should be displayed.
Oakland's first baseman Ryan Noda hit a home run, and on the Oakland broadcast, you could clearly see the signs in full display. And when you went back onto the Major League stream after it had been
Like the
uploaded-
highlight
yeah,
from the
when you went back to look at the highlight, it
Yep.
had been cropped so severely
Yep.
that you couldn't even see the
They
Oakland
hid
fan signs.
It was like something out of like a. I mean, this is so like reductive, but it feels very fascist. It's like they're hiding dissent.
yeah,
it's
no,
like,
I
it's,
mean,
it's bad. Like that's legitimately bad because
It's-
that's them admitting that they know it's a problem. Like, I mean, it's just. I don't,
it's a
messed
clear
up.
display of Major League Baseball's priorities that when something
Yeah.
like this is happening and you have an owner selling out an entire community,
Yep.
selling out a city, ripping its franchise away from them.
Yep. And also still
Instead
taking
of
all
like
their money.
yeah,
By the way,
exactly,
which is why they don't go to games. So I can
instead of
blame
like
them. Yeah.
standing up to ensure that this doesn't happen to the people who love your product
And just
to
the integrity
people-
of your game.
yeah,
There's a whole team that is literally not trying.
and
Yeah.
won't be for the next at least
4
3
years.
years.
Yeah, 3 years.
Instead, at the first sign of even the mildest criticism, they choose to censor it and act like these people aren't even there.
Right.
Because for the rest of the season, they won't be.
Yeah.
And they were there to
You're right.
tell them that they could be there, and
Honestly,
that if the
this
team were to
also-
try,
yeah.
they would go back. They would go back into the stands and they would root for Oakland. And
Yep.
as soon as management showed that there was a little bit of interest in actually winning and in building the team not just to what they could be but to what they were for like 5 or 6 years between like 2014 and 2020, before they traded Matt Olson and they
Yeah.
traded Sean Murphy and they sold everybody and replaced them with
Everyone.
anonymous players who are 6 and 23.
And Aledmus Diaz.
It's just the clearest possible indication that this is an owner who belongs nowhere near the game.
He shouldn't be allowed to continue to do this.
And the fact that
Why
Major
are they
League
supporting
Baseball
it?
seems so keen on defending him.
yeah. Or
And-
at the very least protecting him.
Yeah,
Not defending maybe. But
Yeah,
at the very least
protecting him and even
Yeah.
shielding him against, like I said, the mildest possible criticism
Which also
from
kind of
people who are
backfired, I
about
think.
to have. Oh yeah, it
More
did.
people now saw those signs because the clip was making its way, making the rounds around the internet. Whereas I was never going to watch a Ryan Noda homer. Now I've seen it, and I saw that they're doing some like fuck shit with with the crop job. Like in the future, I guess maybe it'll shield more people from seeing what actually happened because the highlight is there. And if somebody needs to go back and watch every single one of Ryan Noda's homers in 2023, they're not going to now see the signs. At the same time, you could Google 2023 Oakland A's fans, and you'll find a clip that says the fucking league censored the fans who were trying to hold up signs to sell the team. So whatever.
Yeah, and Major League Baseball like put out a statement saying like, "Oh, we didn't know about this.
Bullshit.
This doesn't
That's the
meet
most
our
bullshit fucking
editorial
shit I've ever heard.
standards." Yeah, it's
You
just
knew. Of
it's
course they
complete
knew.
nonsense.
How could they not? That doesn't even make sense. Like whatever.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it last week. I'm sure we'll probably talk about it again. I just hate to see teams ripped apart from cities and
Yeah.
owners who, and it's the same thing as the fucking writer's strike, which feels so similar to baseball's lockout from 2022.
Oh my
All
God,
of this, which is going to be at the expense of people who love the game, just is
Not only just the game, but this is what I said last week too. I have such a soft spot for people who love their team because, like, the relationship between a fan and their team. I think is genuinely there's something really interesting about it because people genuinely pour their heart and soul into the teams that they choose to support. They align. They see parts of their personality in them. Like, how many times have the Yankees been described as like a rough and, they get up every day and they go to work just like the city, and the Knicks are tough and like the Giants are blue collar dudes who, whatever. It's just like, maybe it's just a thing with New York, but it's actually, I know it's not, because the Raiders always were like Oakland tough, we're crazy motherfuckers here in the end zone. It's just like, it's always like, whatever. It's just always been the same thing with those kinds of teams where everybody has a little piece of, like, the team reflects a little piece of the fandom.
absolutely, and the fans,
it's so sad.
relationship
Yeah.
with the team is, of course, inherently necessary to that team's existence.
Yes.
And yet, whenever the financials of the sport or some relocation comes into account, nobody even mentions that.
Yep.
And it's just the people, the game, who see it exclusively as a means to profit
Yeah.
are the root of everything wrong with it.
It's true, but at the same time, I know it's Vegas, and I think that's partially why these teams are moving to Vegas is because there is no fan base. You're going there as an entertainment product for tourists. You're not moving there to a city. It's a city where there is not a dedicated, fan base as a population. You're going there as a sideshow. So that's
Exactly.
why it's Vegas. Because you leave a fan base, you lose fans. That's how it works. It's the same thing with LA with football. That's why the Chargers left San Diego. They abandoned the city.
But I
And
guess just
you are,
the proximity to a casino is going to bring
Yes.
in money, apparently.
well, it's not that. It's that LA being a tourist destination, and we talked about this last week. But now there is something to do in LA, or not in LA, excuse me, in Vegas, every single night of the year, whether it be well, not every single night, but
Yeah, we
whether
talked
every
about that
weekend,
last week.
every weekend, whether it be football or baseball, or hockey, or probably within the next couple of years, basketball. There will be an event going on in Las Vegas, and it will not be for the people who live in Las Vegas. It will probably be for fans from Oakland who drove to Vegas to go see their former team, or people who are in Vegas for the weekend and want to go watch some kind of event. But whatever, it's just depressing. Anyway, we can move on.
do you think that the Rangers are for real?
Watching them beat the shit out of the Yankees made me think so. They can pitch. They can definitely hit. Although I know their offense had been struggling before we saw them. Or no, sorry, their pitching had been struggling. Excuse me. Their offense had been lighting it up, actually. I think they were scoring like 6 runs a game. Not a lot of holes in it. Their young guys are hitting. Their old guys are hitting. And their pitchers are pitching, except for DeGrom, who just went down, which is also a story.
Jacob DeGrom went. We're going to talk about a bunch of injuries in a second. But DeGrom went down with, I think, a forearm strain, which is never good news.
I think it was soreness.
Yeah. Evaldi shut down the Yankees, of course.
Naturally, he does that every time.
Shut
time.
shut out the
Shut
Yankees,
out.
actually.
CGSO,
Complete
baby.
game shutout.
Yeah. Not fun.
Yeah, I mean, they similar situation to the Mets on paper with a very old pitching rotation, but we're seeing a lot more positive results in Texas than we are in Queens. Although that could change this week because Scherzer and Verlander are apparently pitching Wednesday and Thursday in back-to-back outings.
That is something I did not know that.
It's gonna be fun.
Verlander, I know, has been gone.
He has been injured, and
You know.
Scherzer is coming back from his 10-game suspension.
Yep.
Which was nonsense
So
that
funny.
it even happened.
I
in the
can't
first
believe
place.
it even got. I can't believe it held up.
I know.
Like that's amazing.
Yeah,
it
I
really
mean,
is
he
stupid.
didn't even appeal the suspension, I think.
Whoa. Who do you think is going to win that division? Because that is kind of right now. The Rangers are winning.
I still have to go with Houston. Like, I just don't.
They have problems though.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna figure it out. I know they're gonna make the playoffs, but they kind of have issues that might lead them to being a wild card team.
It I don't know. I don't envision that they will not win that division.
I think the Rangers bullpen is not great, which if something is going to undo them, probably that. But I don't know. They look like they have the stuff to compete with Houston. So
We would like to see that.
You know.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't mind it.
We were touched on
The Mariners are in a rough way.
Yeah.
Right now.
Are the Mariners screwed, do you think? Do you think there's any path back for them?
I will say it's fun to watch the guys that they've been waiting on to perform actually perform. And they have a lot of talent that is underperforming right now. So I think if they can, they're not really that injured, I don't think. So I think they're
Robbie
just
Ray is
kinda-
down for the year.
Yeah, but I feel like he's not really like they have Castillo now. Like Robbie Ray last year was much more important to them at the beginning of the season than he is right now.
Kirby's looking really good.
Kirby looks good, absolutely.
Bryce Miller's making his debut. I think it's even tonight. Their pitching prospect is coming up to make his first start. We're definitely going to have to tune into
check
that.
that out. Yeah,
But that's super exciting.
no, that's I think they have. There's a reason that everybody kind of picked them to be a playoff team, and that's that they have a lot of talent that it's just not going yet. So I think they just kind of need to. I trust them to get it going more than the Yankees in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, next couple weeks. Yeah, I mean, I am not out on Seattle
Me
at all.
neither.
Really, I think
neither.
they're going to come up. They're going to pick it up. I also like the Angels. I think that this is a different looking Angels team.
There's
I like
something a little bit
that-
different about them.
Yeah,
They're a bit more competent than in years past.
they have help. I
But,
mean, they've got
yeah.
Hunter Renfro's tearing it up.
Yep. I told you that
Drury.
lineup was like.
I know.
not
I
bad.
did too. Yeah. Drury started off super slow. I think he's just starting to pick it back up now. It's looking okay. The AL West is looking ultra competitive. Not as
Yeah.
much as the East, but certainly a hell of a
AL
lot
East
more
is
than the
insane,
AL
man.
Central.
Yes.
Um,
the Twins
God.
look all right. but-
Speaking of which, the AL Central, I mentioned last week, I totally biffed my prediction on the Chicago White Sox. I said that I felt like
yeah.
that the pendulum had swung too far in terms of public
out
opinion.
it broke the wall that it
Turns
was.
out it had not swung far enough because that team is
Yeah.
terrible.
They're really bad.
They-
It's amazing.
I was almost able to say that they had not won a game since we recorded that episode.
Oh
but
my
they did record last
God.
night. They did
recorded.
they did win last night.
They recorded a win last
They
night.
were they recorded a victory last
There you go.
night, and we're recording tonight.
They have won. Are you ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
3 games since April 11th.
Terrible.
I mean, think about how far back April 11th was. And even the Yankees have won more than that.
That's
They're starting
ridiculous.
a triple A lineup. I mean, dude, that's really bad.
that's
like
just sad.
really bad.
That
I-
guy's
good
call
God.
into the radio show.
I haven't heard that yet.
You
I've
haven't listened to it yet?
everybody like that I watch on a daily basis who talks about baseball has
Yeah.
mentioned it. Like everybody has mentioned it. I need to watch it.
It was
Haven't seen
it,
yet.
it was really it fires you up. Like it's gonna
Love that.
Like you're gonna root for the White Sox to turn it on
Yeah,
after
of
you
course.
watch that guy
Of course.
talk about it because it's like
Well, okay, so they're probably going to sell at the deadline, right?
yeah.
They kind of have to because they do have talented pieces. That's the thing. They could probably get a really nice return.
That's why
On their roster.
I felt like they were going to have a good season.
Yeah.
The talent is there. They have the roster for it. It doesn't seem like they enjoy playing together.
I think, the players feel like they hate each other, which I don't know if that they're bad teammates or, that they're just like not a group that meshes well or the leadership is bad, but something is.
They're like
just-
they're
there's
tied
just-
with the fucking Royals.
I know,
At
it's
like
like-
8-21.
Yeah, it's bad. I think
That's
the Tigers,
crazy.
The Tigers have a better record than them.
Oh my god.
Tigers have 10 wins. I think the
That's
White
so
Sox have 7 or
sad.
something or 8, whatever it is. It's really it's rough, man. It's like really not great. Tatis is turning it on. I did not realize that.
Yes,
That's
Fernando
fun.
Tatis is back.
Good for
We haven't
him.
seen him in a while.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, he's. Are you rooting for Tatis?
I am, yeah.
Okay.
I definitely am. I mean, I don't really hold that too much against him.
Sure.
Like it sucks, but like I'm not.
We liked A-Rod for a long time.
Yeah,
so, you know, and he actually did steroids.
I rooted for
I
A-Rod
don't.
for quite a long
I don't
time.
doubt that he actually did do steroids. Tatis, that is.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like he would have been great anyway. That's the deal with all of them, though. Bonds,
Yeah, it's like
Ortiz, Clemens, Rodriguez. Like, you know, the only one that I can think of is like, I don't know, maybe Palmeiro wouldn't have been as great as he was. But like, there's
a certain tier of player
Yeah.
where it's like they're just naturally talented enough where it's frustrating even the premise of them doing steroids.
Yeah.
And Fernando Tatis like certainly fits into that category. Then
Right.
you have the guys who back in like 2003 had their seasons where like they would hit 8 home runs, 10 home runs, 11 home runs,
60.
36 home runs, 9 home runs,
Yeah.
11 home runs.
It's like, well, what happened there?
Okay.
Or
yeah,
aside from 2019,
like for me, that's the
Brett Gardner out homered
statistical
Aaron Judge
evidence.
in 2019.
Yeah,
That's true.
Man, that's hilarious. Yeah, I remember when Brett Gardner hit an opposite field
Yep.
home run. That was the moment when everyone was like, "Okay."
Yep. I forget who
Hold
it
on.
was, but I think
it was Phil Hughes.
It was. I was gonna say
Yeah.
Shane Green. It was Phil Hughes, right? He was like, "All right, if Gardy is going oppo, something's
Something's
up."
wrong.
Like-
The ball is like juiced here.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Gleyber Torres fell off a cliff.
Well, I mean, he hit 38 juicy home runs, so like, you know, he's good for 20 regular ones. So it is what it is.
Man.
That was a weird year. What else you got?
Injuries. I've got
Yeah.
all pitchers here, honestly. Jacob DeGrom, of course,
Well,
we already mentioned
Aaron
forearm
Judge
strain.
also.
Well, yeah, but like Judge is, he's
He's on the IL or the IL.
yeah,
I mean-
he's on the IL. He's got that hip injury.
Yep.
We were thinking it might have been a hand thing last time because of his slide.
Yeah, apparently not.
But
His
yeah,
hip
apparently it's the
sore.
hip. I guess he's going to be back in like 5 days or so. I
Yep.
didn't even write that down, honestly, but
Um,
I got DeGrom
Luis
with the
Garcia. Oh, yeah,
forearm
DeGrom.
strain. Jose Urquidy left his start on Sunday night.
Yep.
He's on the 15-day with a shoulder.
Luis Garcia is going to be headed to the IL, it seems.
Yep.
He might need Tommy John, I think.
That's
doesn't
bad.
look
That's
great.
2 pitchers out for the Astros. Lance McCullers still
Yeah.
not back, so 3. Kenta Maeda went out against the Yankees.
Yep.
He had that blow-up start.
What are the Yankees doing to pitchers? They either kill us or we kill them.
Yeah. Herman Marquez and Lou Trevino both announced are getting Tommy John surgery, so we will not see them for quite some time.
Come on, Marquez.
Yeah, and then my last note here is Pete Fairbanks, the Rays closer, is dealing with Renault syndrome, which is the same thing that Brandon Woodruff had last year, which is like when you're pitching in cold weather, you can't like feel the tips of your
Doesn't he play in
fingers.
Florida.
Yeah, I mean, and he plays in a dome, but like they also have games on the road.
I
So
guess.
yeah, it's like I don't know exactly what's going on there, but Woodruff was certainly able to pitch around that for the most part. It'll be interesting to see what happens there, because with the Rays rotation injured, they would certainly like to have their best reliever. That's my last note.
Yeah, a lot of guys injured.
Yes.
It's, we're a month in, so it seems like this is the time of year where if you're gonna get hurt, teams can kind of afford it, and they will maybe be a little bit more precautionary than they would be in June, July, definitely August, September. So it makes sense that you're gonna see guys who are feeling a little bit take 10, 15 days off and a couple weeks, and hopefully the team is just hoping to stay alive. Because nothing is, no divisions are out of hand yet, except for maybe the AL East. So it is,
Yeah, I mean-
it's the time. The NL West is weird right now. Also, I wanted to mention that that's as a storyline, because like the 2 teams that you'd expect to be great are not great, but it's still like top heavy. It's strange.
Diamondbacks are looking super similar to the Pirates right now. Like
Yeah.
both of them are
They feel
in
the
that
same.
like
And the Orioles That's,
breaking
like,
out before they were quite projected to.
Yeah. I was very high on the Diamondbacks before this
Yeah,
season.
they've got a lot of young talent. They've got guys having fun.
And they have
pitching,
more on
looking
the
better
way.
than you would think. Oh yeah, Diamondbacks also called up Brandon Pfaadt. He's going to start.
Oh, I didn't even
tomorrow.
see that. Okay.
Yeah, he's making his first start. So
That's
we got
fun.
Brandon
Man, these
Pfaadt
pitching
debuting.
prospects
We got
really-
Bryce Miller debuting.
It's their time, yeah.
I know. We've seen quite a few of them this
That's
year.
fun.
It's great.
Very fun. All right, so the last thing that I kind of wanted to touch on before we take off for the week, I had made a list earlier today of teams that would be disappointed
Not to make the playoffs.
if they don't make the playoffs, which it is like way more teams than playoff
Yeah,
spots. It's kind of interesting.
The reason that we wanted to
Like
do
the
this
season
is
would
like,
be a failure if they don't make the playoffs.
Yep.
So it's
So
there's
what teams?
a lot.
What teams do you have down for that?
So I said first off the entire American League East.
Yep. I mean, except for I'd say Boston. Like
They were not expecting to make it. I know that, but at the same time, do you really think they'd be okay with not?
I would
making
not
it?
put a Red Sox missed playoffs on the same anywhere near the same tier as like a Yankees or a Blue Jays
That's
or a
true.
Rays.
That is true.
I would have said the same thing for the Orioles,
they're
but the
not-
Orioles are now looking very, very good.
It would
so-
not be a disappointment. It would be a letdown.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? It's not the
Yes.
same thing. It's like a
Exactly.
disappointment is like you failed. A letdown is like, well, all right, whatever.
Seattle,
so, fair
certainly.
enough. Yes. Well, hold on. So
okay. Sorry.
for the
Getting ahead of
Central,
you there.
I have 4 teams in the Central, which is the Astros, the Mariners, the Rangers. Or,
You mean the West?
Sorry, the West. Excuse me. The Astros, the Mariners, the Rangers, and the Angels in the West.
Yep.
Which I think the Rangers are. I would never have guessed, like because I know they put a lot of money into their whole roster. Really, I was going to
It's-
say the lineup, and then I was going to say the rotation, but it's both. So I think they have reached that point where they have too much invested and they're playing too good to be okay with not making the playoffs. The
It's certainly
Astros are the
starting to click.
Astros.
Yeah.
The Mariners have been the darling of the American League for the last 2 years, and this is their time. And the Angels are supposedly there, and they're going to lose Otani if they don't make the playoffs. So
with Seattle
fun.
too. Like they were there last year, and they were
Yeah.
so close to beating
They really
Houston.
could've
Like
beaten
they were
Houston.
just a couple of like tough pitches away,
Yep.
even from
Yep.
competing in that series.
They really
and they're off to a
they
12
could've
and
beaten Houston.
12 and 16 start. So I'd certainly say Seattle.
Yeah.
The
Nothing's
Central,
lost. They can pull it
not
back, but yeah.
really too many.
I said the Twins and the Guardians. Which,
Yeah.
that's kind of. I mean, who else do you even give a shit about? So it's
Yep.
the Royals are not doing anything. Anyway,
NL East?
any teams that you would include or disagree with?
Not really.
Yeah, I think
I'm
that,
with you. I would have said Chicago, but now no, Chicago's cooked.
I think
they're dead at this point.
They are disappointed to be where they are now. By the time the playoffs come around, they're gonna be numb. So it's,
yeah, there we go.
There's nothing
Comfortably numb. That's their tier. No, you're done.
left. Oh, fuck off.
Okay, NL East.
So the NL East, I said the Mets, Braves, and Phils.
Yep.
Now I know that the Marlins are in second place. I don't think that that's going to last because they
No.
can't really hit outside of Luis Ariz and Jazz. But they, like the Marlins are fun, and I don't know why I'm spending the entire NL East segment on the Marlins, but they don't need to be. The Nationals
Ooh.
are definitely not making it. Anthony
Oh, yeah.
Volpe first
Anthony
row.
Volpe.
Love it. Porch job. Anyway,
Yep.
the NL East, the Mets, Braves, Phillies. I think if one of those teams does not make it, obviously the Phils coming off the World Series, Mets and Braves being the Mets and Braves, they have to make it. The NL Central is weird.
It's very there
It's
are a lot
weird.
of teams around there that they could go either direction.
Yeah.
And one that you would not expect to be in that conversation because the St. Louis Cardinals are 10 and 19,
Yeah, they're really bad.
which is
they're like,
baffling.
really bad.
I don't know how they're that bad.
People are talking about Tyler O'Neill being on the move.
Yep.
Which
Seeing that
makes sense.
Jordan Walker was optioned, which is
Yep.
sad.
Weird, like shockingly bad vibes.
Yeah.
Because that team was just kind of rolling for most of last season, and
You could kind of
this is
see it
rough.
in last
Yeah.
year's playoff series. Like
That's
the
true. They
vibes
looked
were
dead.
awful.
They looked
for
dead by
St.
the end of the
Louis
year.
for them.
yeah,
It looked so bad.
a bit
But
surprising.
honestly, I would put Chicago and Pittsburgh both in that tier at this point.
I wrote them in with question marks.
Yeah.
because I think the Cubs are getting to that point. They are like they're playing good baseball. People want the Yankees desperately to go after Cody Bellinger. I don't think they move him at this point. They they're clicking.
No,
Like, this is a roster.
I don't think
that,
they have any reason to think that they can't
Yeah.
compete. I mean, it's a team
People didn't
owned
give them
by
a lot
the
of credit.
fucking Ricketts family, so
Yeah.
like I don't
met
think they're
him.
going to go off
Fact.
and like buy anything.
Yeah, definitely. not.
But like they could sneak into a wild card, and then Pittsburgh. Like I don't know.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing
I
as
certainly thought
the
that-
Orioles.
Yeah.
It's a letdown, but at the same time, also it's May and they're Pirates fans, so they're probably expecting the whole thing. They're expecting like Jack Sawinski to get into like a car crash in a week. I don't know. Like, it's
Jesus.
like I mean,
Yeah, Pittsburgh-
Anything that can will go wrong. So it's that's the mindset that they probably have. At the same time, this is fun.
Yeah,
but,
I mean this
you know,
is the only time that they've ever been excited about anything. I think I've said a few times that I was like, yeah, this is an obvious fluke, but it has not proven to be that way yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, hey Pittsburgh,
We're
why
enjoying
not?
it.
At
Keep
this point,
running
you
it.
could make the playoffs.
Sure, I'd love to see it.
And I would put in the Pittsburgh tier Arizona in the West as well. I have the exact same thought about them.
Yep, I also had them with a question mark. They are. I don't know. Is it just me or is the NL West like boring now?
It
Like,
is,
I
honestly.
don't give a shit about the Dodgers.
That's the thing.
The Padres are
Until-
underperforming, and the Diamondbacks are not quite there yet.
Yeah,
it's
until San Diego starts to hit, and until Juan Soto figures it out, if he ever does,
Yep.
and until that like
Dude, he
top
hates
4
the West
reaches its
Coast.
full. I think you might be right.
Yeah.
Until that,
Have I ever talked about that on the podcast?
I think so.
Okay.
We think Juan Soto hits the West Coast.
Yeah, he really like. I realized a couple weeks ago. It's like I think because he showed up and played. I think it was against the Nationals.
Yeah.
And he like immediately like he had like a homer and
No,
he, I
it
think,
was-
ripped a
it was the
double
Mets,
or
I
something.
think.
Oh, it was the Mets.
Yeah,
it was the
played
Mets.
in Citi Field.
But yeah, he was on the East Coast, and I was like, damn, he looks a lot more comfortable. I just think he doesn't like L.A. or
get it.
not L.A., but the West Coast.
Yeah. Yeah, until that team starts performing, I kind of agree with you. I am a little bit bored by the NL West.
Yeah, nothing too exciting out there.
I think that's just about it for this week.
Yeah, I think that's a fun little segment.
yeah.
We could start trying to do like fun little
Yeah, we could like try to bring something
wrap up
in
stuff. You know,
for episodes where we don't have a
like a guest or a movie or something.
to like accompany. Yeah, because I know I said last week that we were going to have a movie on this week, but I have not yet heard about that. So I
Yeah.
don't know when that's going to happen.
We'll do it. We
Yeah.
will do it soon.
We're gonna do
It's going to be The Fan, and it's going to be soon.
And it's going to be great.
It's going to be great. And this was great. I think this was a good episode.
I had a lot of fun.
Enjoyed it.
Until next time, this has been Mudville. I've been Nolan Rabine.
I've been Brody Staub. Go check out the Yankees, etc.
Yeah.
There's a link on the Twitter.
Go check out Brody's Yankees Etc. blog.
I really appreciate
check
the reading.
out
Let me know what you think.
Check out our Twitter at Mudville Pod. And please, if you can, rate us 5 stars on Spotify or Apple or wherever it is you listen to your podcasts.
Yeah, I actually also just unlocked on Twitter. I was private until very recently, but I am also at BoardGuy23.
Oh, well, Brody blessed the
BORD
masses. So, yeah, go
GUI23.
toss him a follow.
Please.
Board Guy 23, and I am at Stuck in the Coil.
That's BORD, not
Yeah.
BORED.
Although some would say you are kind of bored.
Hey, the NL West is boring. I just said it.
You did say that. All right. Well,
Anyway,
that's
we'll be
it.
back
Yep.
next week. See
Goodbye.
ya.
Thank you.